Hello and welcome to another episode of Birds of the Roundtable on a Victory Tuesday, which doesn't quite have the same ring as Victory Monday, but we're going to roll with it anyways. We are here today. We're going to break down the Eagles' victory over the Lions on Sunday. We're going to talk about matchups to watch out for against the Vikings on Monday Night Football, and we're going to do it all while having a watch party for an Eagles-Vikings simulated game on Madden. So I am joined tonight by who was dubbed last week the best co-host on this show. It is Dives. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Dives, how are you doing tonight?
Better now. I did not expect that. We critiqued, we nitpicked about the win over the Detroit Lions, but at the end of the day, it's week 2. A win is a win is a win. The Eagles can just throw away that mess of a second half out the window and focus on a much better opponent here in the Minnesota Vikings. It's just good to be talking about real life football, man, because I feel like we just suffocated ourselves just talking about the same old things for months. Now, Shane, is when the true grind starts. It's freaking Tuesday night, and I think I've already put like 10 plus videos on the Lions game between Sunday and now. So, this is the grind. So, it is here, and go Birds.
Yeah, I spent a couple hours today getting ready for Chalk Talk, getting this video cut up for the Madden game for tonight. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I've got all 22 stuff I'm going to get to tomorrow. Power rankings to get out, a lot of stuff going on. The grind really starts now, and I couldn't be more excited about it. And so I'm also joined by someone who has been relegated from being best co-host because he stood us up last week. He bailed out. He tried to have some sort of technical difficulties, so he wasn't here tonight. But we were able to guilt him into joining the show. It's Ryan Reese from Philly Sports Alliance. Ryan, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. I swear all of it is true. If anybody who knows me, my technical prowess is not so great. So it is par for the course.
Absolutely. I can attest to that, and I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
It's atrocious.
Terrible.
Yeah, and I didn't get the invite to the in-person recording here.
I know.
I mean, it would have just been a 23-hour drive for me without stops to get there. So I'm pretty disappointed in that, Ryan. Pretty disappointed.
That's less than a day. That's weak to just throw out the window.
All right, well, let's dive into it for tonight. The Eagles win on Sunday. It wasn't always pretty, but they win 38-35. They emerge victorious on the road as Hassan Reddick gets a roughing the passer penalty. That's more in this Madden game that he's touched the quarterback than he did all of week 1.
True.
But it wasn't always pretty, but the Eagles did get the job done. Let's talk about takeaways from the Eagles-Lions game. Ryan, I'll throw this one to you first. You want to start out talking about offense or defense?
I want to talk about the more positive, so I'm going to go with the offense.
All right, lay some offensive takes on us here. What did you see from the offense?
While I think we all are going to be having a watchful eye over Jalen Hurts this season and seeing his progression, seeing him improve on the many things that we have talked about, which seems like, honestly, this offseason felt like 2 years. So I feel like we beat that dead horse over and over and over again. But still, it's something that we know that we're going to be watching. And I think we need to kind of take this first game with a little bit of a grain of salt. He was in the preseason for like 6-7 plays, so I kind of give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. And this Minnesota game is going to be one that I think counts for me. While he wasn't perfect against Detroit, he did do some things that I liked. Last night, I was on with Dives and we broke down every one of his plays, and we came out more positive than we did negative. Now, he wasn't perfect. He didn't make perfect throws all the time, but, he took what he was given and he made some plays. Yeah, we don't want him rolling out of the pocket every 2 seconds, but the offensive line, I thought, didn't do a great job in the first half, and he made some plays with his legs, and I was happy with what happened. And then, obviously, you look at A.J. Brown. The man had the best debut by any Eagles wide receiver, 155 yards, tying his own personal single-game record. So, I mean, we have a lot to look forward to.
As the Vikings just banged through a 61-yard field goal here on their opening drive in our Madden sim. That's crazy. I've never seen a computer kicker hit one from that far. Hopefully not indicative of what we'll see on Monday night. So, Eric, how about you? What did you see from the offense? What were your main takeaways?
Was that you?
Is that me?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's other Ryan.
Other Ryan.
What did I say?
I think
Eric.
you said Eric.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Other Ryan.
Waiting for a call in,
Wow.
or somebody you might have been messaging.
Oh no, is that an interception?
You know what?
Take it away, Eric.
That's why you didn't get the invite to drive all the way here.
That's well deserved. You know what? Like Jalen Hurts, I did not get many preseason reps. So this is my week 1. I'm allowed to make a few mistakes. My bad, Ryan. What did you see from the offense?
It's not a problem, Chad. I appreciate the time. But one of the big things that I really enjoyed seeing was the ability of Miles Sanders to just do what he needs to be doing, to hit those open holes, to get around the edge, Sorry, I'm a little distracted right now.
My dog is a maniac.
So Miles Sanders having a good game, I would say, is a positive for me. Dallas Goedert making the catches he needed to make, doing the things he needed to do, not just in the receiving game, but in blocking and, all the responsibilities that he has. And then one of the things that not many people are going to talk about is just Jason Kelce being consummate pro and always working his butt off. And literally, you watched, what was it, our first touchdown in which the running back literally was on his back, falling into the end zone. So just those little things, they really impress me.
All right. What about you, Dibes? What did you see from the offense? What were some of your big takeaways?
I agree with what Ryan said. I'm going to go back to what he said. It's just week 1. Let's not overreact from one game. We're already divisive on social media. There's people saying Jalen Hurts was terrific. There's people saying that he was terrible. Let's just take one game at a time. We've got, again, a much tougher opponent in the Vikings this week. That is where Jalen Hurts is going to be graded this year. That's where Jalen Hurts did not beat a single winning team last season. That's where I'm going to be watching Jalen Hurts. So this game against the Vikings holds much more weight. Some takeaways on offense against the Lions. I'm surprised that Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith had the chemistry they did in week 1. They were clearly not on the same page. I'm actually a little surprised. I know we heard A.J. Brown was getting a ton of the targets throughout preseason and training camp, but at the end of the day, I did expect a balanced offense. That did not seem the case. I don't know what that means for week 2. It's only one game. We'll see what it happens. But you look at, the matchups there with the Lions secondary and their lack of depth. I thought for sure we would have seen, God, this is not a good game for the Eagles so far. I thought for sure we would have seen more targets to Devontae Smith, more targets to Dallas Goedert, and we didn't. And it was a little surprising. And in fact, I would like that where that comes from is kind of my take on the Eagles' play calling. It seems silly to be complaining about an offense that put up 31 points, but here we are. And I thought we can do better. I thought the Eagles can definitely do better offensively. Jalen Hurts didn't do enough checkdowns. He was dead last in the NFL in checkdowns. There were some positives, though. I really liked at a time what we saw from the Eagles on third down. I really liked the connection between Jalen Hurts and third down. At one point, they were like 10 of 13 or something like that. They were really flowing, and especially in those slants between Hurts and A.J. Brown. That looks like that could be Jalen Hurts' bread and butter because A.J. Brown looked absolutely unstoppable. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out. And there were some other plays, some timing throws that really impressed me between those two. Offensively, I got to, in relation to the Vikings, you look at how much the Lions blitzed all day long. Well, guess what? The Vikings did that against the Green Bay Packers and had a lot of success getting into the grill of Aaron Rodgers. So if you didn't like the Lions pressuring Hurts, guess what? We're going to get a heavy dose of it in week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what teams are going to try to do against Jalen Hurts. Now, that can definitely come back to burn you. I think, anytime you're going to bring man pressures at a mobile quarterback, you're playing with fire because if he's able, we saw several times the Lions would bring 7 guys and there would be 6 blockers and Hurts would take off running. And he's got to try to make a guy miss. And that's hard to do, but he's got the athleticism to do it. And all of a sudden, if you do that, everybody's running with their back to you and you've got a ton of room to run. And we saw him have some dynamic scrambles that way. So you are playing with fire. Would I like to see Jalen Hurts get the ball out hot against blitzes?
Yeah.
I would.
Absolutely.
Do I think we're ever going to see that? I don't. I don't think that you're ever going to see him take the Tom Brady approach as Hassan Reddick comes in here with a sack. That would be amazing if he could get involved in a football game. But we'll get to that in a minute. I think it would be good if he could take that step. I just don't think that's his mentality. That he likes his odds one-on-one against anybody, and I don't blame him for that. There's some times when he needs to get that ball out hot, but I don't want to strip that athleticism from him. I was pretty harsh on Jalen Hurts on the post-game show. I graded his game out as a D, and I have not got to fully evaluate it yet because all 22 is garbage, and it didn't come out until like an hour before the show for me. I've seen clips that other people have put up, some plays that I was critical of, and I've rewatched some of those, and I've felt better about what I saw from Hurts. His mobility is all about raising your floor. You're going to blitz a whole bunch. Well, he can run and he can get 5 yards maybe. It's things like that. Like I don't feel like he's going to fall apart under blitzing. Is he going to have pretty numbers? Maybe not, but he took care of the football. The offense put up 31 points. The team put up 38 with the defensive touchdown. So it's hard to feel bad about that. I've walked back my opinion a little bit. I think Hurts did a good job of getting the ball out in rhythm. He made some really good pre-snap diagnoses that I saw. I want to get into the rest of the tape, but I left, today I feel better about Hurts' performance than I did immediately following the game.
I did too.
I have a
That's
question.
really good. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
No. Dives, go ahead.
I kind of felt the same way, Shane. I was definitely a little harsh on him. I think I was in the like C- D+ range during the post-game show. When we did our grades yesterday, we came out to a 67%, which it's not a B, C, D. It's more so like that's the good plays over the overall plays. And heading into this season, I was a 50-50 Jalen Hurts guy. So I think my little like hesitations is a lot of what we saw against the Lions is a lot of what we saw in 2021. Whether that's Nick Sirianni or what, I do credit the Eagles for throwing as much as they did, but we already know Jalen Hurts can beat you on the ground with his legs. We already know he can limit turnovers. So there were definitely plays where we saw a lot of tucking and running, not keeping his head up and just running rather than continuing to look down the field and find open receivers. So it's not that like when I'm like critiquing Jalen Hurts, I'm not saying he had a bad game. It's just what my expectations and hope for Jalen Hurts becomes, because when I'm grading Jalen Hurts, it's not about 2022. It's about 2023 and 2024 and 2025 because you know that contract is going to be massive. And we keep circling back to, is Jalen Hurts a guy that you win because of? And if he's going to be making this astronomical amount of money that we expect, and he's not, that's going to be a problem down the road.
Absolutely. Shane, I have also a question for you. One of the things that you were kind of diving into was his quick throws, like off of a shown blitz.
Uh-huh.
So, do you think that he can develop sort of an Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes sidearm, maybe just like that quick motion throw that we saw get blocked down, 4 times during the game?
Yeah, 3 or 4 times for sure.
Do you think he can develop that?
I don't know. That throwing from the different arm angles and things like that's not something that really. There's not a lot of, I guess, track record of people developing that throw in the league. It's a lot of, the Patrick Mahomes, the Justin Herberts, these new age quarterbacks. That's just how they grew up playing because it looked cool. And now it's like, oh, well, that's actually got a really good use. And Aaron Rodgers is really the only guy I can think of that has kind of developed that in the league. To me, the bigger thing I want to see from him, like, I wish I had the video of this play, but it was like the 3rd and 13 where we were backed up and the Lions brought 7. It was in the 4th quarter. They bring 7. They lined up 7 guys right across the line, and they all come. Well, Hurts knows pre-snap he's only got 6 in protection. So as soon as he sees 7 coming, I want his reaction to be, get the ball to my hot read, which was A.J. Brown running a slant. He was wide open. As A.J. Brown gets a touchdown here to pull the Eagles back in 3.
Let's go.
In our simulation. That's what I want his thought process to be. His thought process is not that. His thought process is, there's 7 coming. I've got 6 blockers. I can beat this guy one-on-one. And I don't want to take away his athleticism. I would like to see him get those hot reads out, because when on that particular play I'm thinking of, and this probably isn't helpful if you're not thinking of this play, but he takes his 2-step drop out of the shotgun. When he hits his back foot, he has a choice. He can step in and hit that slant to Brown that's wide open, or he can start trying to run, and his immediate reaction is to try and run. I don't think that's ever going to go away, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it does create exploitable opportunities for a defense that, hey, we can just overload pressure and this guy's going to try to run. We don't have to worry about these hot reads. And so that's the step I would like to see him take. I just don't know that that's going to happen.
Shameless plug, because I'm party on Broad, Ryan. Like, am I wrong? There was probably about 4 or 5 times when, instead of Jalen Hurts tucking and just, abandoning the pocket and, in some of those he got a first down, to his credit. That's not always going to happen against better defenses. But on all those plays, go check out that show where we paused every single down, every single run pass from Jalen Hurts. There were guys open that Jalen Hurts could have easily just, got rid of the ball and got the 5-6 yards, and who knows what happens after that. Those plays were there, whether that was a wheel route or a slant or a crossing pattern. They were there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I think there were times that he, maybe not, went for the immediate rush, but did the rollout. And instead of doing that rollout, I think it would have probably been more advantageous to take that step up within the pocket. Oh, I'm over here now. To take that step into, up into the pocket. And I think there were like 2 out of the ones we were talking about where A.J. Brown was just cutting across the middle and would have just absolutely went. There was that one where all he had to do was take a step up, and he had Gainwell on the wheel route.
Yep.
That he could have had in stride for 40 yards. And, again, as I said earlier in this show, it is the first week. This is the first week of actual hitting, real game. As much as you can say, you try to simulate, a real game stuff in preseason and in practice and the joint practice. Nothing's like the real thing. So let's hope that they got some of the things they needed to get out of their system in this first game against Detroit. It was ugly, and that goes for not just Jalen Hurts, but that goes for quite a bit of the Philadelphia Eagles. So, well, I hope that we're going to see a much more disciplined team against the Minnesota Vikings.
And I will say too, like I had somebody point out one to me on Twitter where Hurts he throws the slant into a tight window to AJ Brown, and I don't remember if it was Gainwell or Sanders, but is wide open out of the backfield, and like he's just locking into AJ Brown. And what people need to understand though is that Jalen Hurts isn't playing Madden with the all 22 view. Like he can't see the whole field at a time. That's why quarterbacks go through progressions. And like on that particular play, AJ Brown was the first read in his progression, and he read the window and he threw it. And it was a tight window, but it was a completed pass. You should never fault a guy for throwing to his first read if it's a completed pass. Like he got the ball in there. So was Sanders wide open? Yes. Tom Brady wasn't throwing that ball. Back, and then he celebrates and doesn't.
That's Reddick for you.
Yeah.
If Reddick does that, if literally Reddick does that in Philadelphia, he'll get booed off the field.
Yeah. Anyways,
or the three other Eagles that just stood there. By the way, love Madden.
But anyway, Tom Brady wouldn't have made that throw to Miles Sanders because Sanders just simply wasn't in the progression on that play. Right. And so although it looks bad in the freeze frame, this guy's wide open. He just wasn't a part of the progression. And so there's an element of that as well. But yeah, there's some definite room for improvement from Hurts. Overall, I'm satisfied with the first game. He made plays with his legs. He made some plays with his arms. There's room for improvement. But I walked away satisfied after kind of reviewing it and taking a breath.
Great.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's flip it on to the defense here. Let's talk about some takeaways off of the defensive side of the ball. Dives, why don't you lead us off here?
I mean, how do you not start with the defensive line? My bad take, or not my bad take, but the bad news, I guess, is the pass rush. It was not good enough for the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. It just wasn't there. Getting into Jared Goff, making him force errant throws, it wasn't good enough. The good news is I like what I saw from Bradbury and Slay. That's definitely an area of strength that I'm really excited about this season. And it's going to have to be an area of strength, which when we talk about matchups with the Vikings, that is going to be a major, major matchup, especially when you're talking about Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, guys like that. That is going to be a hell of a matchup. There was good and bad. It was mostly bad, led by Jonathan Gannon. The tackling was terrible. The angles, the communication, not filling in gaps across the board. It was the rush defense. Jordan Davis only getting 23 snaps when, like my man Shane brought up in his amazing tweet,
world famous tweet.
Yep, definitely. And it's not good enough. It's not good enough, man. Like we were raving about the linebackers this season, and it was a flat out embarrassment. Swift made him look like nothing. And you talk about a team like the Detroit Lions that put up 35 points. Now, I expected this game to be close. I only predicted the Eagles to win by 4 points. I thought it was going to be closer.
It was a trap game.
Yeah, like I expected a tough battle, but it's giving up 35 points in the way they did. Jonathan Gannon, it's not good enough.
The final score should have been 38-28. There's no way they should have actually scored that last touchdown. And I will have to say, to Swift's credit, he's a fantastic running back. He is very talented. Yeah. But to what we've been saying all night, or at least for the past 5 minutes, Gannon and his usage of the players on defense is just inexcusable. He's had so much time to diagnose that offense, our defense, and he failed.
Yeah. Big dud week one for Gannon. He is someone, I heard this from somewhere. but he might be the new Howie.
Oh God.
Everybody is just going to focus their hate on him until he proves us otherwise. And people are already calling for us to go after Vic Fangio. And listen, it's week one. We gotta win. It wasn't pretty. There's so many things to clean up. There's
Nice
so many
pass.
things to improve. But listen, after Monday night, if the same thing, if we can come on this show on next Tuesday, and we're talking about the same thing with this defense,
It's a problem.
yeah, that is a problem. That is, I give you 1 game grace period.
Yeah.
You get the mulligan, you got to win from it. Fantastic. Good teams find a way to win. And we did, and that's all that matters. But if we're talking about, something similar come next show, I'm going to have a big problem.
Let's go to a few comments here.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say that.
Okay, I got Allison on YouTube chiming in, says, hoping we're in All Blacks on Monday night. I haven't heard anything about that, but the All Blacks, perfect.
New Zealand All Blacks.
Yeah. Well, I am going to be wearing my number 1 Hertz jersey as I am starting my quest from 1 to 99 in a row. So that works.
I'll be wearing my very similar to this pillow right here, all black 20 Dawkins jersey.
Nice.
Classic.
I will be wearing my number 2 Jalen Hurts jersey.
I also have one of those as well, sadly.
Yeah. Ironically, I'll get to this comment and just say, ironically, that number 2 Jalen Hurts jersey was a Christmas gift from my aunt to me. So I'm in Oklahoma, or Oklahoma fans, all that. And ironically, I got that jersey. And of course, that was like a week after Wentz got benched, and I got that for Christmas. And I was so mad about that whole situation. I was still mad they drafted Hurts, and I was just like, I was not happy about that as a gift at all. But now I wear it every game day. Let's Blue City Empire Sports chiming in on YouTube says, "What's this? I'm hearing that Gannon is throwing Harry Roseman under the bus. I haven't heard that. Have you guys? Anybody heard anything there?
And I remember from last night, Blue City, obviously a Giants fan. So let's take everything he says with a grain of salt.
Okay. So another comment asking about more 50 front. Absolutely, the Eagles should be running more odd fronts.
Yes, please.
There was no coherency between it was like the Eagles were running 2 different pass rush or 2 different defenses. They had their even front packages with Cox and Hargrave, and they had their odd front packages that had Milton Williams and Jordan Davis out there.
It's dumb.
And it was dumb. There was no marriage between them. It was like we were just rotating out. It's like, now we're going to run this defense. Yeah. Now we're going to run this. And there was no consistency to the game plan. My tweet, it was, I think it was that the Lions averaged 2.9 yards per carry when Jordan Davis was on the field. And they averaged 10 yards per carry when he was off the field. Like, you drafted this guy, you traded up and drafted this guy to be a math changer on your defense. And then you don't play him. He only played 23 snaps. And I just don't understand. I don't understand why against Jared Goff, you're so dedicated to being in nickel packages. Like, we're terrified, scared to death that Jared Goff is going to dice up the defense. But like, the Lions were out here in 12 personnel, and we're in nickel, so we're already at a mismatch. We've got our safeties playing 20 yards off the line of scrimmage because we're 2 high safeties. And then they're running condensed sets. They've even got the receivers in as blockers. They've essentially got 9 guys in the box to block, and we've got 6-man boxes. And it was just a ridiculous plan. It was a garbage schematic, X's and O's performance. We can talk about the missed tackles, and there's an element of that at play there. Would the defense be better if players didn't miss tackles? Absolutely. Would players miss less tackles if they were put in better positions to succeed? Definitely. Yeah. I am confident right now in saying that Jonathan Gannon should be fired. Like, get him out of there before he ruins this season. This guy is over his head. He has been for a long time. Last year, we gave the excuses. He doesn't have the personnel. He had all the personnel. He's had all offseason, and he put together one of the worst defensive game plans I've ever seen. And he didn't adjust when he went south. And so you can come in and say, we're going to run nickel and we're going to do this. And when it doesn't work, let's change something. Let's not continue to let them run for 10 yards a carry. I'm over Jonathan Gannon. He can't get out of here soon enough.
Okay.
I'm clipping that. I'm going to clip that.
Yeah, you absolutely have to. I love it. I absolutely love it.
By the way, it is a very so Monday mornings I go do math tutoring for some kids, and I fired off that tweet. I finished a workout, I fired off that tweet, and I went to go tutor for 3 hours. And I got out of tutoring, and I had like 100 notifications on Twitter and 200 new followers, and I was like, "What just happened?" I spent the rest of the day trying to figure that out, and I still don't know what happened. But I'm glad that got out there, and I would love for a beat reporter to have asked him about that at a press conference, because I would love to hear his response.
Well, yeah, no, I honestly, and congratulations, because I couldn't be happier for you. That I mean, it's gotten over like 10,000 likes and 1,000 retweets and whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you're seeing it all over the place. Bleacher Report. We all know that Elliot Shore-Parks kind of alluded to it in one of his tweets, and
which was wrong. That was dead wrong.
Dead wrong. You're right.
Like, you watch the video. Like, Jordan Davis definitely getting pushed. He was definitely involved in several runs.
He wasn't getting. I mean, I never said he was getting, and he wasn't getting double teamed every time. But he commanded a lot of attention. He was getting trap blocked and different things.
And who cares about whether or not he's getting double teamed or not? The stats are what they are. Like, you are that much better in the run game, regardless if you're taking 1, 2, 3 people with you. Who cares? If that's your job to take people away, I'm over here now. Yeah, great.
Fine.
Let's do it.
And what happened was, if you have to when you take away DeAndre Swift's 19-yard run there late in the fourth quarter, it's even worse, or I guess better on the Eagles end, because there was a late run by Swift there where Davis wasn't even involved, but he was on the field, and you take that away, you're talking like 1 to 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, we got a comment here asking if Cox and Hargrave are just pass rushers.
Yeah,
I mean, the way they're being used, at least, and that kind of goes back to how the fronts are just changing based on who's in the game. I tweeted this one out earlier. I looked up the run stop rates from the defensive tackles in the game. Jordan Davis had a run stop on 14.3% of his run down snaps. Milton Williams, 11.8%. Fletcher Cox, 8.3%. Javon Hargrave, 0%. Javon Hargrave never made a play in the run game.
Yeah.
He just doesn't do it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But
oh
he
my
also
God.
doesn't rush the passer.
Oh my God, Patrick Peterson.
Oh my gosh.
Or no, it was
Dantzler getting 2 picks.
Yeah.
That's not. And so we got another comment asking about the lack of a pass rush. And that's just it. Like, if you're going to do this, it better be because you're getting after the passer. And the Eagles just weren't. I mean, Hassan Reddick, we talked a lot about Hassan Reddick's usage. He rushed the passer on 82% of his passing down snaps. So that's
out of it.
That's good. I'm fine with that. Like, I'm fine with him dropping 18% of the time.
Yeah.
He generated 0 pressures.
Right. That's the problem.
In that 82%. He didn't have a single pass rush win rep. And so, like, and that was a question mark with him going back to when he was signed, is he's a boomer bust player. He will make big splashy plays and disappear for 3 quarters at a time. And, there's a big interception. Is that Avante?
Yeah, it was Avante Maddox.
I think so. The Dreads, yeah. So Avante Maddox with the interception there. He had a sack earlier.
Yeah, man. He's having himself a game.
Let's go.
Eagles defense is having a good game.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, what is this? I told you all Madden's not realistic.
Oh, it's sad but true.
All right, well, let's kind of put a bow on this. Let's start to transition into the upcoming matchup on Monday Night Football against the Vikings, where we've talked about some of these things already. Let's flip it back to our offense here and talk about the offensive matchup with the Minnesota defense. Now, Minnesota only blitzed Green Bay on about 10% of their dropbacks. And so, is Minnesota going to see what blitzing did to the Eagles by the Lions, and are they going to try to blitz more? I'm not sure. But there's no doubt it's a more talented team that the Eagles are facing off against.
Yeah.
What do you guys kind of see as some of the exploitable matchups here in the Vikings game?
Well, I mean, their front seven, I think, is very good and very talented. They are both, I feel like, very proficient not only in rushing the quarterback but also in coverage. I like their linebackers. I like their edges. So I think the Eagles' offensive line is certainly going to have their hands full. Again, we come into the season with, the Eagles' offensive line is the best in the league by far. Like, it's not even a question. And they didn't have the best day. When it was funny on Party on Broad last night, we were going through all these plays, and I started just noticing Landon Dickerson. And, I saw one play where, guy went right by him. And something told me to kind of keep looking. And honestly, I found like 3 or 4 other plays where he just looked lost out there and just did not look very good. And I don't know if he was just the main problem or what, but the Eagles' offensive line did not have their best day. That's for sure. And I think they're going to have a much tougher time against a much better front seven on the Vikings. So, again, you take that first game, throw it away, you try to clean everything up. And I think, again, come Tuesday night, if we are still talking about how much pressure the other team has gotten on this offensive line and how much, there still is so much to clean up, I'm going to be very concerned because the offensive line, if any other position in this Eagles team, was the one thing we knew we didn't have to worry about. And if I have to start worrying about the offensive line, it's going to be a long season, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely. Dibes, what do you think about the Eagles' offensive line? Do you think they're going to match up well with the Vikings? What are you expecting there?
Just like Quentin says, like we kind of touched on it with the line. Well, at the beginning of the show, I did. Is expect Minnesota to blitz. The blueprint is out. I mean, you look at that Tampa Bay Buccaneers playoff game. You look at the Detroit Lions game. It's pretty much out there on how to kind of disrupt Jalen Hurts. So you look at a Minnesota Vikings defense that's not your daddy's Minnesota Vikings. Even on offense, this is a very different Minnesota Vikings squad where at least even on offense, they're creative. They're getting guys in motion pre-snap. On defense, they're running more 4-3 than a 3-4 than years past. You look at their ability to get to Aaron Rodgers. They had 4 sacks last weekend. They held him to just 195 yards passing and an interception. They got great pressure. Ross Blacklock had a really good game there. He had only 10 snaps and 2 pressures. So they rotate guys. This is a defensive line, the front seven, that's going to be rotating guys. And we're going to see a lot more of the same from the Lions game to week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings. So Jalen Hurts has to use the tape, use the Lions tape, and figure out, I got to get the ball out faster. I got to use my checkdowns more. And I got to be on the same page with my guy, Devon Smith and Kenny Gainwell. And I like what I saw with Miles Sanders in the passing game. We just need to be more prepared. And that was kind of like a running theme of Sunday, was at least at the start of the game, they didn't seem prepared. So for me, that starts with Jalen Hurts and his preparedness for this front seven pass rush, which is coming. They will be trying to get into Jalen Hurts' head, and we'll see what happens. But this is why I'm excited. This is exactly what we need to see from Jalen Hurts. Will Jalen Hurts adjust to this kind of defensive scheme? And it's not going away. It's definitely not going away. And until Jalen Hurts learns how to beat defenses, read defenses at the line of scrimmage, and beat defenses with his arm right windows and things like that, that's what we're going to be talking about all season long.
I sort of expect the Eagles to come into this game a little bit run heavy. We saw the pendulum swing back and forth last year. The Eagles certainly came into the Lions game, I thought, with a pretty pass-focused attack. I think we could see it shift back the other direction against the Vikings. I think the Vikings pass rush is pretty good. I think their run defense is not that great. I think this is a team that you can run the ball on. And you look at the Eagles offensive line having some trouble early in the game, right? Well, what's the best way to remedy that is you let them go attack somebody. There's a huge difference as an offensive lineman between being able to go on the attack and go on the defensive. And so I think you will see the Eagles try to run the ball early in this game, and I think they'll have success with it. And I think they'll try to use it to set up their play action game and some of their more straight drop passing. So I sort of expect more of a run-heavy approach from the Eagles against the Vikings.
I agree with that, but the Vikings are going to be stacking the box the majority of the time on the field, right? That's
sure.
a given.
I actually have to disagree with you, Shane, in the fact that they've had so much success week one with AJ Brown that they feel like they might be able to spread it out even more.
I hope so.
I feel like that's going to be the theme for this next week, is to attack through the air. And I mean, we know how Nick Sirianni views the run game. It's almost like a safety valve. I mean, he does
that's a much little league there.
I mean, we would all like to see Nick Sirianni run the ball a little bit more, correct?
Yeah.
I was good with her. I was good. I had no complaints with the run ratio.
Okay. So,
but in general,
that's
yes.
game one.
In general,
yes.
Game one
but in
outside.
general, okay. I would have to say that they're going to attack through the air simply because you had success with A.J. Brown. You know what you have with Dallas and Devontae. I mean, you have Pascal, Watkins, okay. But success through A.J. Brown, I literally would say that they will throw a little bit more than the Detroit game.
I think, too, the addition of A.J. Brown it inhibits teams from stacking the box. Like, if you're going to go single high and stack the box, you're opening yourself up to the 56-yard pass we saw in the second quarter, and Hurts can hit that pass.
Beautiful pass.
And yeah, that was a beautiful play, and underrated the job that A.J. Brown did there he slows up just like a half a step. So the corner gets onto his back, and then he accelerates again to create that separation. It was beautiful. Flashes his hands late. Just picture that's teaching tape for a wide receiver, but it limits your ability to put 7-8 guys in the box when you've got A.J. Brown on the outside that he doesn't have to be open. You can just throw it up to him and feel pretty good about it. Like, it might not be a catch, but it's probably not going to be a pick. And so it does limit that ability a little bit. I think A.J. Brown helps the running game a lot too. Let's go to a couple comments here. We got Quentin said the Rager Revenge Tour coming Monday night. Wonderful to see Rager line up at wide receiver. He took 0 offensive snaps for the Vikings in week 1. So he did have a 7-yard punt return, though. So we got to watch out for that.
Wow. Yeah.
Is this last comment true from Robert? I'm going to put this up.
What do you all think about Howie sitting in on Gannon's game planning? I haven't heard that, but somebody needs to sit in on Gannon's game planning, and I'm available. So
I haven't heard that.
Little Howie part. Is that just because of his stature?
I don't.
He's been making big man moves. That's big Howie.
I think Russ not the biggest Howie Roseman fan.
Well, let me say
right
this,
now, Robert. We got our team because of Howie. So
let me say this. At this point, I trust Howie Roseman's ability to call a defense as much as I trust Jonathan Gannon. So I don't really care if he's sitting in.
There you go. And I would
let Jalen Hurts call the defense for all I care. Anyway, I'm going to stop being hot takey, but I very, very just the more I watch the Eagles defense back, the more infuriated I became with Jonathan Gannon's game plan because it was just absolute garbage.
Terrible. I think I saw your tweet the other day just explaining, or I guess yesterday, explaining how, with Jordan Davis in there, what was it, 2.9 rushing yards per attempt, and then 10 when he was out. That's disparaging. I mean, you have to understand that immediately. But I'm not on the sidelines. Neither of us are, so I don't know what's going on. But
when you talk about Dalvin Cook, Dalvin Cook's a really good running back for the Vikings. He had 90 yards a couple days ago, 4.7 yards per touch. A lot of those come from the shotgun formation when you watch the highlights. It's a different offense for the Minnesota Vikings. You're going to see Justin Jefferson moving all around the field. I thought one of the best things the Vikings did against the Green Bay Packers was get mismatches for Justin Jefferson. He was moving all over the place. The Packers, had a tough time getting the matchups they wanted against Jefferson. I expect a lot of that of the same on when the Eagles play the Vikings. Like you got Bradbury, who I thought had a terrific game. You got Slay. They're going to try and get Maddox and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on Justin Jefferson. He's going to be going all over the field. But going back to Dalvin Cook, again, it's not your mom and pop's Minnesota Vikings. Like the feel of this is like more of a pass first, run second type of offense. It's a lot more creative because when I think of Minnesota Vikings, I think of like that, like pound the rock, traditional kind of basic offense. That's not what this is. And when you talk about kind of the Eagles' weaknesses in week one with the linebacker play and their inability to get to the quarterback, it's going to be tested even further. Like outside of like Kaiser White, who made a couple of plays in coverage, like it was abysmal. It was straight abysmal. It's not good enough. Jonathan Gannon and the linebackers, they're going to get tested from Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson just being all over the field in just a multitude of ways.
And Kirk Cousins has always had the Eagles number as well. Like that's the one. Kirk Cousins, we had the stat for a long time about him never beating teams over 500. The one team that he's broken out of that with is the Eagles. Like he's always had the Eagles number.
You like that?
I don't like that. I do like that A.J. Brown touchdown that Hurts just threw, though, to take the lead for the first time in this game. I love that the Vikings scored 10 points in the first 4 minutes of our Madden sim here, and they haven't scored since. So, although we would be up in arms if that happens on Sunday in a 10-0 hole 4 minutes into the game, I would love it if the rest played out like this.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
So you mentioned Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson obviously had a fantastic week one. I'm going to go into this more on Chalk Talk going right after this. But the Packers' defensive plan stunk. They played a lot of zone coverage. They did not let Jair shadow Justin Jefferson, something that Jair said in the press conference afterwards that he wanted to do. He asked for that matchup, and they didn't give it to him. Last year, Justin Jefferson was covered on 24% of his routes by a linebacker or a safety. Against the Packers, that number was 60%.
Wow.
It's like the Packers game plan just stunk. Now, don't get me wrong, Justin Jefferson is a fantastic receiver. He is not what we saw in the first half of that game when he put up 158 yards in the first half. That was the Packers' bad defensive scheme. Well, who else do we know that has bad defensive schemes? That's very concerning.
Wait.
Are
you underplaying Justin Jefferson?
No. I'm saying
it sounds like you're blaming the Packers defense for arguably the best wide receiver in the league.
No, I'm not saying that he's not a top 2 to 3 receiver in the NFL.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm saying he put up 160 yards in the first half, and he did it not because he's a bad receiver, not because he's Not because he's the best receiver that's ever played the game. He did it because the Packers were trying to cover him with linebackers half the snaps. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. I want to see Darius Slay following him. Or Avante, or not Avante.
Bradbury.
Even James Bradbury. James Bradbury had a fantastic game.
Bradbury, baby.
That has to be the most anticipated matchup of this next coming game. Is that we get to see top corners against top wideouts.
Yep.
That's it.
I think that's where, if the Eagles don't want to follow somebody, if they want to play sides, that's okay, because you've got a good corner on each side.
Yes.
Yep.
The only problem you run into is if they put Jefferson in the slot. That's not a good matchup for Avonte Maddox.
No.
Jefferson's too big.
No.
He's too big. That's a bad matchup. So you've got to have some sort of plan. You know, to me, that plan, if you want to leave those guys outside, is you put Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I think the Eagles on paper have answers to wherever they want to line up Jefferson, as Jefferson just fumbles the ball right here in our sim.
He's a bum.
He's a bum. No, but the question is, will Jonathan Gannon pull those levers correctly? And I just don't have any confidence in that.
Not right now. We need to see it. We absolutely need to see him step up after a horrible, horrible week and just say, and hope to God that is week one NFL, weirdness. I mean, let's be honest. The last 5 years, probably more, week one is always just the weirdest week. Teams are beating teams that they shouldn't even be in games with. There are just random things that happen during week one, and a lot of that has been just the constant, lack of preseason snaps, the constant lack of, hitting people and tackling. So I think that you chalk all that up as week one. And listen, if you're still doing things 2, 3, 4 weeks into the season, all right, then you have problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at, like, going back to Gannon, like the Eagles defensive line versus the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. You talk about the Eagles trending down and the Vikings offensive line trending up. Like, that was supposed to be one of the weaknesses of this Vikings offense, especially in pass protection. Christian Darrisaw is a really good player, but an area where he struggled last year was pass protection, kind of like Jordan Mailata. And you look at the Packers against the Vikings offensive line. They hit Kirk Cousins 8 times, but only 1 sack. So this is a statement game for the Eagles defensive line. They got to get back to where they should be, given the astronomical amount of money that the Eagles are investing in this defensive line. Man, that's got to be where the Eagles kind of come out strong out the gate and say enough is enough, man. We got to get back to that kind of Eagles defense that we know and love, where it's just relentless, pass rush.
And once again, go ahead, Ryan.
I have to just quickly ask the cheeky question of, how do you feel about Barnett being out?
Who?
I mean, it sucks from a depth perspective, but Taron Jackson, he was going to have to step up sooner or later. I don't know if the Eagles will try to make a move there, but I hate it for Barnett, and it sucks for the depth. But he was not a top 3 person in that edge rotation. So
yeah, it's more of just a bad situation. But yeah, I did hear a rumor there. They were looking at JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul. I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and sign somebody of that, ilk, that skill. Just again to have a veteran presence for depth purposes.
Yeah.
Next man up, baby. Next man up.
I would rather be Jackson. Yeah, you're right.
There are some exploitable points of this Vikings offensive line. I mean, the interior of their offensive line is not great in pass protection. Garrett Bradbury, the center, is not a good pass blocker. Ed Ingram is not a good pass blocker. And so, again, it is a matchup that the Eagles' defensive tackles should dominate, but they haven't done that I don't know when, and so I don't want to rely on that. But let's throw to a few comments here. Robert says Goff was getting the ball off in 2 seconds or less. He did have the fastest time to throw of the game of the week, 2.47 seconds. He says you want sacks, you need to not make it that easy. Hard to get to the quarterback when defensive backs play so far off the line and the quarterback gets it out so fast.
Or statue still.
I would just like to say that Ryan is officially turned into a dog.
Quentin Moore referenced Gainwell's pass protection, and I'm not sure what he thought of it because he didn't finish that comment, but Gainwell missed some blocks, definitely made some bad pass protection there. Jock Talk says he's got us on the 82-inch TV. Welcome to the big screen, guys. We made it.
We made it. No, I remember Boston Scott having some nice blitz pickups. I don't remember Kenny Gainwell picking up blitzes.
Kenny Gainwell blew a couple protections.
Yeah,
he had one good pickup, but he blew a couple too. Will we have to run more man coverage in this game? I think it depends. I think this is a good. I think you want to be running. I would be running a man. I would be bracketing Justin Jefferson. To be honest, I would bracket Jefferson whether you do that from a quarters look or man. And I'm just going to make somebody else beat me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let Justin Jefferson get 160 yards and beat me. I'm going to make somebody else do it.
No, especially considering he's not on any of my fantasy teams.
I'll tell you right. It might happen. So Justin Jefferson get his 160 and a touchdown and exclude everything else.
No, what you need to do is have Rager come out and get 100 yards because that would be just great for the city.
That'd be nuts.
If Rager houses a punt in the first quarter, can you imagine?
We're gonna go nuts. The whole city will burn down.
Imagine if it's like the one he housed against the Packers for us, where he like muffs it and then picks it up and runs it in.
All right.
No. All right. Well, we are winding down to the end of our game here. It looks like the Eagles are going to emerge triumphant in our sim. And so far, Madden is 1-0. It's 1-for-1 predicting Eagles wins on the year. It had us winning last week 14-10. It looks like it has us winning tonight, barring a miracle here by Kirk Cousins, 20-10. So let's put a bow on this thing. Let's sort of wrap it up and give kind of our final thoughts on the matchup. Ryans, why don't you guys lead us off?
Can we do score predictions too, so I can put it in?
Let's do that. Do score predictions. Ryan, what's your score prediction?
I'm super excited for the cornerback matchup of the Eagles versus the Minnesota wideout matchup. And I believe that the score will be 27 Eagles, 21 Vikings.
All right, 27-21 from one Ryan. What about the other Ryan?
Obviously, I think I can kind of piggyback off of that. It's obviously, their wideouts versus our D-backs. It's going to be the major matchup that I think we all are going to be paying attention to. But, not only outside of that, but I want to see, as I've been saying all night, I want to see that week one was just what it was. That it was just, hey, we haven't played real football in a while. We were a little sloppy. Let's start cleaning this up. And I don't need everything to be, 100% perfect. I just want to see improvement and small changes of getting there. I'm going to go with 34-30 Eagles.
All right, 34-30 Eagles. Dives, what do you have?
All right, high scoring game for both Ryans in this one. I'm gonna play the cards, man. I think the Vikings have a really good team this year. I think they're going to be a very strong competitor in the NFC. And until Jalen Hurts proves it to me that he can beat a worthy opponent, I'm going to go Vikings in this one. I'm going to say it's a very close game. So I will say, will the Vikings hold the Eagles to 30 points or less? That's where I'm thinking. I will say Vikings 31, Eagles 27.
All
Okay.
right. I am also going to be going Vikings in this game. I've got Vikings. I just had my score. 34. Vikings 34. Eagles 28 is going to be my
Oh
score.
my God, we're like right on target. That's funny.
We're all in the same range of like 27 to 34 in that range of both teams. So
Yeah.
obviously the Ryans here are more thinking the Eagles will pull it out. You guys obviously have zero faith, and I don't blame you, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh well, he does. Sorry, I
He
don't.
does.
You guys are good with
Come
me.
on, man.
I'm still trying to get best co-host status back. So
This is why I don't get invited to the live shows, I guess.
Yeah.
well, that and the aforementioned Eric Ryan thing. That was
That's already been edited out. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he actually changed his name to Chad. So.
Love it.
All right, here's our official prediction so far. So we have some ways to go. So that's what it's looking like.
All right. Well, I hope after this week, Dibes and I are on bottom, and you guys.
I agree.
So we'll be pulling for that.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I think that is going to about wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed the Madden Sim. I know you should have. The Eagles won. I hope you've enjoyed this show. You guys be sure and drop us some comments here. Share this, get it out here. We're going to be live every Tuesday night throughout the season at 8 o'clock, doing this exact same thing, breaking down last week's game, previewing the next game with some Madden action going on in the background. So before we get out of here, Ryan number 1, I'll let you guys decide which is which. You got anything you want to plug? Give us your final thoughts, any plugs, and we'll get out of here.
I usually am Ryan number 1, but I will defer a lot of the attention to him. And I will just say, follow us on Philly Sports Alliance. Please give us likes, shares, follows, all that. And also the painted lines. And yeah, anything that's on half and half. Mr. Crockbot, shout him out, share it, love it.
All right, awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that. But yeah, obviously, as number 2 Ryan said, follow us on all social media, Philly Sports Alliance. We got shows all week. Obviously, we got all the TPL shows on our Facebook. So check those out there if you're more of a Facebook guy. Obviously, we're also on YouTube, so check us out there. We got a couple of live shows going on this Saturday. We're going to be out in Pittman for the Pittman Craft Fair from noon until 4, doing a little Eagles talk. And then the following week, we partnered up with Philly Sports Alliance. We're all getting on a nice charter bus. We're heading down to D.C., we're welcoming Carson Wentz back to the NFC East. There's going to be over 1,000 Eagles fans heading down there just with Philly Sports trips alone. So if you're looking to do something, a little Eagles away game, phillysportstrips.com. Do that up. Vince and all the guys there are awesome. So, other than that, like, follow, share, rate, review, whatever the buttons tell you to do, just hit them. Just hit them and go forward with your day.
All right, Dives, what do you actually want to plug? Throw something out here.
This is my 9th video since Sunday on the Eagles.
That's it?
Yeah.
Soccer.
Come on.
So think about that. No, I'm excited that Eagles football is back. I can't wait for this matchup against the Vikings. This is going to be a great test. It's a great test. Just again, thank you so much for joining, Ryan Reese. Thanks for joining, Eric. It was a pleasure. And be sure to check out Philly Sports Alliance.
Thank you. We do appreciate that, and honestly, with Pain and Lines and everything that we're doing, especially this show. Real quick before I get out of here, if anybody is going to the Eagles game, head on over to Wells Fargo lot, C1 and C3. We're going to be smack dab in the middle. Come join us. Grab yourself a drink on us. Play a little cornhole. Get a little food. We're going to be cooking it up. We do it up real good tailgate style. And honestly, Shane, you should just start driving. So that way you go to the game and then you can, we get all
If I leave now, I could probably make it for the tailgate.
There you go. Love to see it. Love to see it.
Well, the next 1 o'clock game, I'll definitely try and get there. It's definitely not. Well, it's Monday. I have work. I have to get to work at like 7 a.m. on during the week. It's going to be really tough.
Jacksonville, right? That's week 4.
Yeah,
that'll be a 1 o'clock game. So
yeah, I'll do my best
for Jacksonville.
Yeah,
and yet, even though it's a late Monday night game and he's got to be at work at 7 a.m., I promise he's going to have like 6 Eagles highlight videos up that night before he leaves for work the next morning. It's going to happen. So
that's literally what I did. The Jordan Davis video this morning. That's literally what I do. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I make Eagles videos. That's literally just me for the next 6 months.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And honestly, also again, I wanted to special shout out to Shane. That was an awesome tweet. That was, again, you put the work in, you did the thing, and you're reaping the benefits. So I love seeing it. Honestly, it just makes me feel good that it's going on for you. So congrats.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And we appreciate you. Jock Talk says, great stream, guys. Thank you to everybody that came and hung out. We really enjoy hanging out with you guys on these shows, being able to interact with you, field your questions and things. So be sure you stop in here next Tuesday at 8 p.m. We're going to be breaking down, hopefully, an Eagles victory over the Vikings and getting ready for the Washington Commanders. Make sure you're following Ryan on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. They put out great stuff over there. Following Dives at Mr. Crockpot on the Painted Lines YouTube channel. He's putting out tons of great content. And if you've got room left on your follow button, you can give me a follow at @halfandhalf_TPL. I'm going to be going live here in about 5 minutes with Chalk Talk. We're going to be breaking down all of week 1 action. So we'll start with the Eagles just like we did here, but we'll go to all of the NFL games. So you'll find out about all the things you need to know about all the games you didn't get to watch on Sunday, because for some reason the NFL puts 10 games at a time, and I hate it. But that's what I've been doing today, is watching condensed games on Game Pass all day, getting ready for that. So I can't wait. I'm ready to go. But let's get you guys out of here. So from me, from Dives, from Ryan, from Philly Sports Alliance, from the Painted Lines, we will see you guys next time.
Go Birds.